Hello, my name is Van Potts, and I am president of Preston Lane and Partners Incorporated. Preston Lane and Partners Incorporated is a business that works in the business of adult beverages, specifically fine wine and distilled spirits. Preston Lane and Partners has been in business since 2003, and we have served many customers, clients, and people in pursuit of fine wine and distilled spirits. A lot has changed in our business in the last couple of years, and that's the reason that I wanted to make this video and hopefully get it out to as many of you as possible. During COVID in 2020, when Americans were basically locked down at home, we saw people drinking a lot of wine and spirits and beer. Then the pandemic eased in 2021, and in 2022, people got back to their normal lives. We saw the sales of these products start to come down to normal levels in 2021. And then in 2023, everything changed. And I'm going to get into the exact catalyst for why that changed. Specifically, I'm going to talk about what has happened to the adult beverage business since the pandemic eased, the catalyst of these changes, who or what is behind these changes? Are these tactics saving lives? Are there other priorities that would have a larger impact on national and international health? And finally, what we can do as individuals to make good decisions. My hope is that after you watch this video, you'll have a better understanding of how it's affecting us as a nation. And that you'll also share this with other people so they can understand that there are things that we all need to be doing, I believe, that can help the overall health of the nation. So what exactly happened? Well, since 2021, the adult beverage business has collapsed by $830 billion with a B. 46% of the industry's net worth has been completely wiped out, erased. And this impacts the entire world in a lot of different ways, starting with the farmers who grow a lot of these products that are used to make the beverages we enjoy and consume in restaurants and at home. So to say that this has had a big impact on Americans or people worldwide is a big understatement. $830 billion, or 46% of the value of these companies, has been completely erased. What happened? Why did this happen? Why did it start? Well, the roots of it start in 2023, specifically January 4, 2023, when the World Health Organization in Europe came out and said there is no acceptable amount of alcohol to drink. Essentially, the risk of cancer and death, all mortality, increases at the first drop. That started on January 4, 2023, and it was located essentially in Europe. That spread like wildfire to the rest of the world, and in the United States of America, the message came here in June of 2023. With sales coming down, collapsing, impacting the lives of people who are at the farms, who are at the places where these products are made, who are working in the streets representing and selling these products, retailers, restaurants, everyone has been affected. To say that it's been cataclysmic would be an understatement. So exactly who is behind these changes? Why is it happening? Well, I have my theories, and I'm not sure that this is the correct video to tell everybody what those theories are. But the World Health Organization is where they came from. The World Health Organization started spreading the word in 2023 and ramped it up in 2024. And they've been effective at doing that, spreading the word, because Right now, there are entire generations that believe they are improving their physical health by stopping consumption of adult beverages. So the next thing to discuss is this saving lives? Is a young person, Generation Z, who doesn't drink alcoholic beverages going to have a longer life expectancy? I would argue not necessarily. In fact, probably not at all. There's a lot of things that come with the consumption of adult beverages. For starters, they are typically enjoyed in social situation and with other people. They're often part of holiday meals. They're often part of family gatherings. Sometimes they're part of a nightly ritual with dinner with a spouse or a loved one. At the end of the day, when those things are taken away, is that actually going to help save lives? I think that's something that can be debated for sure. I remember specifically when the first messages started to hit the airwaves in the United States of America in June, July, or August of 2023. And I remember that they were frightening enough that it startled me enough that I decided to do some research for myself. I immediately came to the conclusion that this was a lot of hysteria that didn't really have good, firm backing. And in fact, the one thing that I did notice was when they said has absolutely no benefits whatsoever. The first thing that I questioned was, what about mental health? What specifically about the fact that people do relax and find themselves in situations that are socially easier, socially more enjoyable, or in family situations where sharing wine and food is part of the overall dining experience. So while the 2023 message got out that there's absolutely nothing that alcohol does to improve health, the one major piece they missed was mental health. I called that right on in August of 2023, and I finally heard a doctor explain on a YouTube podcast that was one thing that they weren't taking into consideration, was the mental health and well-being of people who enjoyed adult beverages moderately or lightly. Number 5, are there other priorities that would have been bigger? And I believe that starts to lead into who may be behind this messaging that has collapsed 46% of the value of adult beverage businesses. Other priorities that the United States of America should be taking on are to get Americans to eat a better, healthier, more natural diet. Right now, according to the CDC and according to other studies that have come out, Americans' caloric intake is 55% ultra-processed foods. Ultra-processed foods are usually high in sugar, seed oils, artificial ingredients, chemicals, and things that do anything but help human health and well-being. If you understand that the processed food business is a multi-trillion-dollar business, and that they might have some concerns about their future and well-being, you can understand that they might want to throw shade on another business to take the bullseye off of their back. But at the end of the day, what we haven't done effectively is talked about the consumption of ultra-processed foods. We have simply demonized a beverage that has been created from a farm. So the next thing to ask is, are these tactics saving any lives? Well, the short answer is we wouldn't know for years anyway. The longer answer is probably not, because if you look at the CDC's own website, the occurrence of cancer is directly tied to alcohol in less than 10% of cases of cancer. So it's not the biggest driver at all by any means. And if we were to assume that we could get every single person to quit drinking and therefore eliminate those cases of cancer, that would only take about 10% of the cancer away. So that leads me to the next question. Are there other priorities that would have had a bigger and better impact on lives? And the answer to that is absolutely. And this might give you an idea of who could be behind the absolute collapse of the adult beverage business. Imagine for a moment if people stopped eating processed sugar, or they stopped eating junk food, or they stopped eating ultra-processed foods in total. Imagine that they started eating healthier and better foods. Would that have a bigger impact on human health and life? You bet it would. Right now, diabetes, heart disease, stroke, cancer, those are all very, very big drivers in the health crisis in America. And changing our food would be the first step. Adult beverages are a very small piece of that change. We have managed to convince an entire generation that any consumption of any of this stuff is bad. So people are drinking less than ever. U.S. consumption of alcohol is at its lowest since 1939. Gen Z and millennials are turning to mocktails and mindful drinking as they invest in healthier lifestyles. Now, is having a Klondike bar, a Snickers, and a package of Oreos a healthier lifestyle? I will leave that for you to decide. I know for me in my life, that would not be healthier at all. Finally, what can we all do to make better decisions? I want to say right now, first and foremost, I think anything we can do to get people from drinking abusively, abusing any kind of substance, is definitely worthwhile and needed and necessary. Whether that substance is alcohol, whether that substance is an opioid, or whether that substance is a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi or a soda of some type, matters not. The fact is, if we can get people to stop abusing things, that's a good thing, including alcohol. But the number one thing you can do is be educated, learn and understand. Because at the end of the day, it's not the alcohol that's the problem. Alcohol is being blamed, but it's not the problem. And that's something that we all need to understand. Enjoying an adult beverage is part of a healthy lifestyle. So, what I would ask for each of you to do is share this video and make sure people understand the war on alcohol that's happening right now, that's being prosecuted intentionally right now, is not about improving human health at all. It's about destroying an industry and protecting other industries. My name is Van Potts. I am the president of Preston Lane & Partners. I hope you found this educational and informative, and I would ask that you would share it with others because we all need to be able to make good decisions in our homes. Thank you very much and have a great day.